Alright, today we're going to be doing the overhead set on an N14 Select Plus, backyard mechanic style. So this is just how I do it. I haven't seen any real good videos on YouTube, so maybe this will be video number one. Alright, so this is what it looks like with the covers off. We're looking at the Jake brakes, and each Jake brake's got 6 bolts that hold it down, like this one here, and so that's what I'm gonna do next. Is take these, take each of these Jake brakes off so we can get started adjusting the valves. On the exhaust side of the Jakes, you'll see these posts, and so make sure before you take the Jakes off, you take the plugs off these posts. You just grab them, and they will slide right off. It's lined up. Been turning the accessory drive, so it's on A1. How do I know it's on A1? Well, according to QuickServe, both of these are supposed to be loose. Well, only one's loose. So what you can do is go on QuickServe and pull up the firing order. So I know that one, the next in the firing order is 5. So 5 should be a little loose too, which it is. See 5 right here. And also you can tell by the springs. See the springs down in here? The springs are up on this cylinder. Whatever your cylinder you're on, the springs are going to be up. And you can tell the difference between looking at something like these where the springs are, the coils are down. So here, you want to film this from the top. I got the, was this one I just used? Yeah, 15/16 wrench, and I loosened this bottom locking nut, and now I can loosen the adjusting nut. Up here. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can do it by hand yet. Okay, well, with this nut loose, what Cummins advises is to take this injector and loosen it and bottom it back down gently until you feel it touch the bottom. And this helps get rid of the fuel that's left over. Okay, see that's just bottomed out. So I'm just going to loosen it back up real quick. Do it another couple times. Alright, bottomed out. It's actually way quicker to just loosen the lock nut first and go back over the adjustment bolt with a socket and a socket wrench. Back down. You want to make sure not to crush it. You don't want to bottom it out very hard. All right, so it's bottomed out again. So now we're going to back it off using the 2 flat method, and each one of these faces here are considered a flat. So I'm going to make this point go over here to this point. Okay, so now I need to find a way to hold this top one in place while I tighten the lock nut. And the proper way to really do this is to have a crow's foot that fits and torque it to 50 foot-pounds, the lock nut. So you got to hold this top one in place while you tighten the bottom. While you tighten the bottom one, I'll go ahead and hand tight it. All right. Should be good. Tighten it just a little bit more. It's tight. All right. That's it for now. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is loosen these locking nuts. These are the adjusting nuts that we're gonna use for the feeler gauges. So I had to get this socket out to break it loose. It's a 7/8. All right, so now that those are both loose, this is gonna be the intake, this is the exhaust. So I need to pull up my sheet and see which one's which again for the clearance. The intake is this inside, and it's going to be 0.014. So let me back this off a little bit here. And 0.014 on the feeler gauge. Okay, I'm just going to move this adjusting nut until I feel it get tight. It's a little too tight. Let me make sure I'm not touching anything else. Alright. Alright, there's a slight drag right there. You can feel the slight drag. We can do it one more time here. Okay, that's a slight drag that I think I'm looking for. Okay, so now I need to keep this adjusting nut just like it is as I tighten it with a 7/8. Let me see if I can just get it nice and snug first. Hand tight it. Okay. I'm just going to kind of have to do this the backyard method. I'm going to put this flathead right here where the line on the screw is, and I'm going to have to tighten it with a socket wrench because I don't have the right type of wrench to really get into it.
Socket wrench, yeah.
That'll be a good 50 foot-pounds, and yep, still straight. So I'm gonna do the same thing for the exhaust, except for now it's going to be with 0.27. Okay, so let me loosen this up a little bit. Okay. Alright, that's pretty tight. Alright, that's what I need right there. Just enough drag. Okay. So same thing. So tighten this down. And with me holding this, I'll get it started. Okay. So now with that started, let me line this up again. somehow. There we go. You just got to find some type of reference point to make sure that your screw hasn't moved, your adjusting screw. So I'm lining that up with that head. And see if we can get it to tighten without moving. Okay, and it still looks perfectly straight to me. So, let me see what it looks like when I run the feeler gauge back under there. Should be able to get it right back under. And it's got some drag on it, so that's good. Let's check this one again. It's got some drag on it. Okay. So I think this one's done. And like I said, y'all, this is just backyard mechanic style. This is my first time doing it. So we'll bar the motor over and do the next one. Then from there, they're pretty much self-explanatory. They all go the same way, except for these right here. All right, all the valves are in adjustment. I just wanted to show this real quick. If you look at it, 2 cylinders, 2 cylinders, 2 cylinders. The inside ones are intake, set at 0.14. The exhaust are set at 0.027. And I meant to say 0.014. And when you look at this next cylinder here, don't get tricked up by thinking this is the intake. These are the intake. So if you look at it per 2 cylinders, intake, intake, and intake. Time to put the heads back on. Oh, well, what I'm going to do now is clean all this off. Make sure I have a good surface to put the gaskets on. Then I'm going to take a razor blade and scrape the bottom of the jakes. Make sure there's no leftover gasket on it before I put them back on. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the back. It makes the most sense, I guess. Start with the rear jakes. These, then these. See, we already got the other 2 jakes on. I'm just showing you how I lay the gasket. This blue side does go up, and the part number for this gasket's right there, 4920093. Yeah, I tried doing it the other way by putting the gasket on jakes first, and it didn't work out as good as this. So time to put the next jake on, then we'll see about getting all the jakes adjusted. Record, the jake bolts get torqued down at 75 foot-pounds, and Cummins Quick Serve has the order. I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the order you're supposed to torque the bolts down. I got from Harbor Freight about $12 for the magnetic base and $30 for the dial gauge. That's the piston, slave piston right there, and the adjusting nut. You loosen the big lock nut right here first, then you loosen that, and you see I loosened it and I zeroed that out before I started loosening it, and now it's right on the 58, 59. So now I got to hold that and tighten the lock nut, and that'll adjust this. And Cummins Quick Serve also has the procedure all spelled out, and which one to bar the motor over to which point. Like right now it's back on A, and I had to do the same thing with this. A was for either 5 or another one, so 5 was a little bit loose. Then I had to go to the next one in the firing sequence to make sure that it was loose, so that's how I knew it was 5. So let me go ahead and tighten this up. Yep. Set the jake brake. I found that if you're real gentle when you go back down, you'll feel when that first bit of resistance comes, and that's where you need to back it off from. Right there, boom. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and tighten this lock nut. Then I'll set my dial indicator and back it off to 0.58 millimeters from there. And the wife has painted the covers Cummins red all over again, so that ought to look pretty nice. It's time to put those back on and power the motor back on.